What's up, everybody? This is Dr. Zeb, and it's so good to see you tonight. And thank you so much for tuning in to the Rehab Christian Center virtual life study experience. And I'm grateful to be here. I don't know why Wear Your Mask is on the screen, but yeah, wear your mask. And how ironic and fitting that would be for a day after a day like I've had today. Anyway, it's good to see all of you, and thank you so much for tuning in. Do me a favor. I want you to start inviting people quickly to tune into the broadcast. I've got a very powerful message that I want to teach tonight on being accepted, and the fact that being accepted is so overrated. And I think it's a very timely message to consider when we think about our society in general and just how people act, respond, what they do in order to be accepted by other people. It's a sad time we're in. And so I cannot wait to teach tonight. I'm excited to teach tonight and glad to be here with you. So go ahead and start liking this video, sharing this video, subscribing to our networks. Let's get the numbers moving north as quickly as we can. Because again, I want to get into this message. Nothing is wrong with me. I am exhausted. Today has been one of those days. It was just one thing after the other. But we made it. And I'm excited tonight. I'm going to get off this call, get a little bit of work, or eat a little bit of food and get some work done tonight. So it's going to be another long night for me. But I'm grateful to God, to each of you for tuning in, and certainly grateful that you've taken the time to join us for about 45 minutes of very solid teaching tonight on a very solid topic. And so again, start liking this video, start sharing this video if you have not already, and tell other people to tune in, and let's get ready to get this party started right. I'm excited again to be here, and just grateful to God for all of you for tuning in. And again, in advance, grateful for you sharing this video. So start sharing it. Let me go through the networks really quickly. Facebook, good evening to you. It's good to see you virtually. And certainly hope you've been having a fantastic week so far. If you're on Facebook, I want you to hit that like button. I want you to hold it down, turn it to a love button, and then go ahead and hit the share button and tag 5 of your friends and tell them to tune in tonight if you're on Facebook. Also, make sure you say good evening in the chat area. Make sure you say good evening in the chat area, and your comment might pop up on the screen tonight. But make sure you say good evening in the chat area. And again, Facebook, it's good to see you virtually. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us tonight. YouTube, thank you so much. Those of you that are subscribed to our YouTube channel, thank you so much for tuning in on YouTube via YouTube. And grateful for those of you that tune in via YouTube on Sunday, where we are only on 2 networks. Thank you so much for that. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, hit that. Go to YouTube, type in the search bar, The Rehab CC, no spaces, The Rehab CC, and you'll see our channel there. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification icon so that you are alerted every time we go live. But thank you for tuning in via YouTube. And I just simply ran out of time last week. I'm going to try to get everything cataloged there, all of our series. We've got so many messages there. And I promise to do that for those of us that actually listen to inspiration and different motivational things throughout the day. If you ever want to go back and look at the archive of our messages, you can see that there. And I would highly encourage you to do it. You may find something that will bless you. So thank you so much, those of you that are tuning in via YouTube. Instagram, good evening to you. It's good to be back with you tonight. Those of you that are tuned in via Instagram, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're there, make sure you say good evening in the chat area. If you have already done that, fill it up with hearts and then hit that @ symbol. And make sure you tag 5 people if you're on Instagram. We all know Instagram's the late church, but they will be here eventually tonight. But I do want to get started. So good evening to you, Instagram. Thank you so much for tuning in. It is my prayer that in the future, this network will be a little bit more amenable to be able to do some other things like the others. But we're certainly grateful for you tuning in tonight. And those of you that may be catching the replay on any of our networks, thank you so much for tuning in and watching this broadcast. We know it's going to bless you. All right, y'all, I got 7:14 and I want to go ahead and get started. I've got to jump into this message tonight. Just a powerful message. Go ahead and type it in the comments now. Being accepted, overrated. All right, being accepted, overrated. And I want to talk about this tonight. I want to talk in a very candid way, and I'm going to be in Psalms 19, and I'm not going to go through Psalms 19 verse by verse. It's really only one verse that I want in the book of Psalms, chapter 19. There's really only one verse that I want, and that's verse number 14. And I'm gonna talk about it eventually, but I'm not gonna read all of Psalms 19. But I want to use it for context because so many times we have, growing up in church, heard Psalms 19 verse 14, but we didn't hear it in the right context. And this is going to be something powerful that I promise you that next time you hear this in church, whether it's in person or virtually, it's going to really challenge how you hear the verse. All right. So I'm going to be in Psalms chapter 19, and verse number 14 is the key verse that I want. But again, we're going to just kind of sprinkle through that chapter. But again, being accepted equal sign overrated. Right. And I want to talk about this because the reality is I was having a great conversation last night with a group of young ladies. In fact, I was in a virtual setting, and it was about four of them. And we were having this very solid conversation about just the society that we're in and really the lack of boldness that people operate in when it comes to their lives, when it comes to their movement, when it comes to their vision, when it comes to their purpose. It is so much more convenient in your life to play it safe. All right, listen to me. I'm going to be giving y'all nuggets, and they're going to be subtle ones, but powerful ones. It is so much more convenient in your life to play it safe. That's in anything. It's convenient to play it safe in your career. It's convenient to play it safe in your business ideas. It's convenient to play it safe in your relationships and relationship choices. You boring, they boring, and you know it ain't gonna not work because both of y'all boring. So you just choose another boring person that's just like you, and then y'all stay together for 50 years because you're both boring, right? Right. It's so much more convenient to play it safe in everything that we do. But the challenge is that anytime you step out of the realm of playing it safe, and you begin to not make decisions focused on whether or not people accept them or agree with them, but you begin to make it decisions that are based on your purpose and your calling and the direction that you have for your life. That's when you move out of the realm of being accepted to oftentimes being misunderstood. And this is the second bullet point I want to give you, because technically I already gave you the first one, but this is the second bullet point that I want to give you tonight. And this is important. The real power of your purpose is in being misunderstood. Listen to me. The real power of your purpose is in being misunderstood. If you want to connect to a powerful purpose in your life, the quickest way to get there is to live in this place called misunderstanding. It is to live in this place called misunderstanding. And the reality is a lot of what I'm teaching tonight is really a foreshadow of some things to come, not only just for rehab, but even for me personally. Let me tell you something. I've really been thinking about this and praying about this and meditating about this. And let me say this to you. Most of the brilliant people that I know who have done anything significant in their lives have often been misunderstood first. I want to say this again. Most of the brilliant people that I know who have done brilliant, significant things in their lives, not common things, not ordinary things. There's a time and there's a place and there's a space for that. So I'm not minimizing that or disparaging that. There's a time, there's a place, there's a space for common and normal and average, and there's nothing wrong with that, okay? But I'm talking about people who have achieved on an extraordinary level, who have done extraordinary things, who have done non-normal things, exceptional things. There is a space called misunderstanding that you have to get familiar in, that you have to get comfortable in, and just go back and look through time. If you look at many of the things that have been invented, if you look at many of the things that we consider normal now, that were once different, most of those things were presented at a time where people looked at it and was like, this ain't gonna work. And I'm gonna show my age just a little bit. I remember when Mac computers were not sexy computers. Now, I'm seriously showing my age right here. But there was a day and time where Mac computers, MAC, like the Mac, like Apple Macs, were not sexy computers. They were these big, bulky things. And again, I'm dating myself and showing my age pretty good now. They were these big, bulky things that we used to use. And in fact, the name Mac wasn't even Mac, if I'm not mistaken. They were Macintosh, right? And that name was more fitting because the computer looked like a Macintosh. It was big, it was bulky, right? But I remember back then when those things came back on the scene, people looked at what is these things? And people used them, you know, because computers, typewriters and things were phasing out. Computers were coming on the scene, but people had a hard time receiving it. Why? Because all they were used to were IBMs and typewriters. Nobody was used to this machine that was different that we were calling a Macintosh, right? And because nobody was used to it, it was criticized, it was ostracized. Fast forward now about 20 some odd years, 25 some odd years. It is sexier. Say what you want. I'm Team Mac. I've got MacBooks, iPads, phones, all that stuff. I'm a Team Mac guy, but say what you want. Fast forward later. Now, the Mac as a product is considered to be a very sexy, in demand. I think they just dropped a new iPhone, if I'm not mistaken. They normally do it every September. Is a very on-demand type of product. But this was the same product that was ostracized some 20, 25 years ago. Here's the point that I'm getting at. If you are going to operate in a place of innovation, if you're going to operate in your life in a place of innovation, in a place of doing extraordinary things, you got to get comfortable in a place called misunderstanding. Because brilliance, 9 times out of 10, is more often misunderstood than it is understood. Brilliance, 9 times out of 10, is more often misunderstood than it is understood. I wrote a book 2 years ago called 7 Traits of a Trailblazer. And one of the things that I talk about with trailblazers is really just being comfortable in this space of people not understanding you. And when you are comfortable in this space where people don't understand you, then you typically end up creating very innovative things that make you head and shoulders above all of the other people in your competition space, in your normal environment, whatever. But you're not being innovative and you're not blazing trails if you're not willing to be misunderstood. And if you're not willing to be misunderstood, you're not going to operate in innovation. And so people say they want to do extraordinary things. And I'm just laying a really good groundwork here, so bear with me. People say they want to do extraordinary things and they say they want to do big things. But the reality is, if you want to do big stuff, part of the price that you have to pay is the dirt that people throw on you when they don't understand you. See, everybody's brilliant when the idea works. Okay. When the idea works, when the Macintosh shifts into a Mac, all of a sudden, Apple is this brilliant thing. Here's the reality. They were brilliant before people understood them. And that's the mentality you have to embrace when you shift into this space of innovation and doing exceptional things in your life and saying, I would rather be exceptional than understood. I would rather be brilliant than people be able to calculate me. When you operate in that space, then you get to a place where you don't worry about being understood as much as you do worry about operating in your purpose, operating in the direction that leads you towards purpose versus leading you towards understanding, right? This is critically important. I want you to record this. Here's your third bullet point. This is very important. If you are going to be innovative in any area of your life, you have to be okay not being understood. If you're going to be innovative, right? We just talked about the real power of your purpose. If you're going to be innovative in any area of your life, you're going to be creative in any area of your life. If you're going to make an impact in any area of your life that is different than the norm, you've got to be okay not being understood. I am a music fan. Many of you know I'm a former musician. I'm retired. I've been helping my father out a little bit recently. I'm a retired musician. I'm a music fan. And let me tell you an artist that I love. I love Lady Gaga. I love Lady Gaga. To most people, she's odd. To most people, Lady Gaga is weird. To me, Lady Gaga is very innovative and artistically creative. And that's the price to pay when you are going to be innovative in every area of your life. Because here's the reality. If you wanted to, it's convenient to just do what everybody else is doing. And oftentimes, it's more profitable to do everything that everybody else is doing. See, when I started Rehab, I didn't start Rehab to be like every other church. I didn't. I started Rehab because Rehab had a special calling, a special name, and it was a special name for a special place. And the name wasn't just a name, it has a very special purpose. And we've done some special things. I didn't call, God didn't call me to Rehab to be like every other church. And that's not a knock on any other church. But in the same token, every other church need to leave me alone. Okay? Because innovation isn't designed to be understood, and innovation isn't designed to be like everybody else. Innovation is designed to operate in a space oftentimes initially of misunderstanding until people come around the wagon and really get what you are, what you're doing. And so I'm just saying to you, from Lady Gaga, to any other innovative artist that you can think of, oftentimes the brilliance is locked into what we don't understand. But what makes them exceptional is that they don't quit or bend on their artistry because you don't get them. They don't bend on their innovation because you don't understand them. They stick to the script of their purpose until the herd comes around. And so it's about purpose first, and understanding later, versus understanding first and then purpose later. Your purpose, bullet point number 4, your purpose should always be greater than their understanding. I feel like I'm dropping bombs that are too deep on y'all tonight. Y'all quiet. Your purpose should always be greater than their understanding. You don't sign up to operate in your purpose looking for applause and backpats and people to say, yeah, I get that. I get that business. That makes sense to me. Listen, if the business idea makes sense to you, it's a good chance it makes sense to millions of other people. But sometimes in innovation, a business idea that doesn't make sense to most people becomes the seed or the impetus that creates an idea that then trailblazes into something greater, right? And let me give you an easy example. Don't just open another food truck. There are millions of other food trucks out here. I work with young people and people in general, professionals, especially in my coaching work, who work with me that want to, start businesses and do different things. And they come to me for advice. And this is an easy example. If you want to start a food truck business, wouldn't it make sense to come up with a food truck business that focuses on a niche other than hot dogs, nachos, tacos, Jamaican food, right? Why? Because those markets have already been covered. When you understand that those markets, if the goal is to be and to be successful, then you've got to find something that may be unique and misunderstood initially. But if you stick to the purpose, eventually innovation springs forth beyond what people understand. Again, your purpose has to be stronger than what people understand. This is so critically important. Now, I want to shift gears a little bit here, because when you think about Psalms 19, Psalms 19 is a psalm that was written by David, and we understand Psalms 19 and 14. But what we don't realize is if you read the entire psalm, David is talking about how it is critically important to make sure that we honor the statutes of God, that we honor the laws of God, that we honor our purpose in God. And what he does is he eloquently in Psalms 19 lays the table, especially right around verse 7 through 13, where he lays the framework to say that in order for you to really be acceptable in God's sight, it is critically important that you are acceptable in your own purpose. And this is so crazy because he talks about the fear of the Lord being clean. He talks about the law of the Lord being perfect. He talks about the testimony of the Lord being sure. Read it, right? I don't have time to go through the verses tonight. He talks about the testimonies of the Lord being sure. He talks about all of these things. And then he talks about in verse 13, and this is a big one. I will read verse 13. Psalms 19, verse 13 says, keep back thy servant from also, and I'm in the King James Version. Can you believe it? Keep back thy servant also from presumptuous sins. Let them not have dominion over me. Then I shall be upright and I shall be innocent from the great transgression. This is critical for David, because if you know anything about David, you understand his history. Man after God's own heart, but a man filled with flaws, a man who made mistakes, a man who literally had people killed, a man who literally took somebody else's wife. He had a whole laundry list of stuff, right? So before he gets to the verse we all like to quote, he says, hold on. Protect me from presumptuous stuff, from stuff that I get myself into, premeditated stuff. Don't let this stuff have dominion over me. Keep me upright. Keep me innocent, even in the middle of the things I've done wrong. And then he says, oh, and by the way, let the words of my mouth, verse 14, and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in whose sight? Your sight. O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. He did not say, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in everybody's sight. I'm trying to help you. I don't know how simple to make this tonight. He did not say, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in my friend's sight, in my family member's sight. He didn't say that. David understood that the only real person that needed to accept him, flaws and all, purpose and all, was God. I'm going to help y'all and I'm going to free y'all real quick. Point number 5. You going to know you walking in your purpose when the only person you interested in pleasing is God. Listen to me. You will know you are swimming in your own purpose when the only person you really interested in trying to please is God. Now, hear me, because some people hear that and say, wow, well, if I only please God, then if I'm pleasing God, then I should be perfect. It doesn't mean that. Because let me tell you something. In your plight to please God, you're going to fail. In your plight to please God, you're going to do stupid stuff. I don't know what other preacher or pastors ever told you different, but in your plight to please God, you're going to be a David. You're going to go out here, you're going to smash somebody. You might take somebody's man, wife. You might do some crazy stuff. But the key that kept David powerful is that he understood the only person he had to be right by was God. He didn't have to please nobody else but God. And we miss that because we get it backwards. We think that it's better to please people. And I'm here to tell you, in case you didn't know this, people don't have a heaven or hell, cold or hot, to put you in. People don't have to be pleased with what you're doing. People don't have to accept what you're doing. Get right with God. The old Baptist folks used to sing a song that said, get right with God and do it now. Y'all don't know anything about that song. Many of you are too young to have heard that song. Get right with God and do it now. Get right with God. Watch. He will show you how. It's a powerful song because the focus of that song is really locked into what David is saying in Psalms 19 and verse 14. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight. That's getting right with God. We mess it up. We in confession booths, we telling all of our business to people, trying to get people to accept us. We not making moves until people like our status. We not making decisions until we get enough people on board. And let me tell you something, you pleasing the wrong people. You are in the business of pleasing the wrong people. And anytime you operate like that, your purpose, your effectiveness, your calling will only be as powerful as people give you permission to be. I'm going to say that again. Your purpose, your passion, your calling will only be as powerful as people allow you to be. Get right with God. Make sure God is pleased with you. Yeah, you're going to make some mistakes he ain't going to be pleased with. Be okay. Get it right with him and let the chips fall where they may. I'm trying to help somebody and free somebody tonight. Some of y'all are standing on the edge of doing great things. And the only reason why you ain't jumped off the edge is because you waiting on somebody to push you off. You waiting on somebody to say, you can do it. I believe in you. I know you can. You got what it takes. Let me tell you something. If you're waiting on people to confirm your purpose, you might be waiting for a long time. If you're waiting on people to confirm that business idea, as wacky as it might seem, as in left field as it might seem, as different as it might seem, if you are waiting on people to confirm everything you do, good luck with that. Now let the words of my mouth, come on, every time you hear that in church, you shouldn't think this fancy closing to a prayer. The thing that you should think is, God, when I say this, I'm saying to you, let what I do please you above anybody else. Who cares what everybody else thinks? Because the translation is, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be all right with you. That's the translation. I'm good at making this make sense. The translation is, let the words of my mouth and the meditation, you're my redeemer. Everybody else gets in where they fit in. Does that make sense? Now, I ain't got time to deal with this because it's 7:36, but I'm getting ready to give you something powerful because I've discovered this, and I've been doing a lot of work in this space in my personal business and coaching and YouTubing and stuff, and didn't do much last week. It was a crazy week. Got a few videos that will come out this week. But I noticed something that really connects to Psalms 19:14 and this whole idea of this whole idea of this whole idea of being accepted, being overrated, and while we are there. And this is what I've arrived at. All right, I want you to record this, and this is going to blow you away. And all of you clinical, I've got a couple of clinical counselors and social workers that are connected to our broadcast. Let me say this to you. This is going to blow you away. All right, record this. Many of our challenges with being accepted is connected to our attachment style. I don't have time to go science on y'all tonight. I'm going to just give you a highlight, and we'll probably have to do part 2 next week. Listen, many of the challenges we have with being accepted is connected to our attachment styles. This, you're not going to get this on most church broadcasts. Listen to me. Most of our challenges with being accepted is connected to our attachment styles. You should be saying, Dr. Zaya, what is an attachment style? There are 3 different types of relationship attachment styles. Connection attachment styles. And I don't have time to go through them in depth, but I'm going to give you the border, and we will do part 2 next Tuesday, because this part of it could easily do 3 or 4 weeks on attachment styles. Most of our challenges with being accepted is connected to our attachment style. What's an attachment style? There are 3 different types of attachment styles that exist. And all of us fall into 1 or 3 of these categories. And here's the problem. Based on what your attachment style is, will determine how much you value being accepted. So according to your attachment style will serve as a benchmark to how you value being accepted. And there are 3 attachment styles. Style number 1 is the secure attachment style. Y'all need to be recording this. You're going to be the smartest person on your job for the next 3 weeks. It is the secure attachment style. The secure attachment style is a person who is confident in themselves. They probably grew up and confidence was instilled in them by one or both of their parents. They're confident in showing themselves. They don't need anybody to validate them. They don't feel like they have to validate other people. They're confident in who they are. They expect other people to be confident in who they are. They're not needy. They're not clingy. They're not into all. They don't necessarily have to have attention. They can create their own attention. I feel like I'm going to science for y'all tonight, but this is going to make a whole lot of sense when I put all of this together. So the secure attachment style is just that. It is one of those styles where you understand that at the end of the day, you don't need other people and you don't expect other people to need you. And see, when you are secure, it's hard for you. It's hard for you to be at a place where you worry about being accepted. A lot of people struggle with being accepted because they are insecure. They are not secure in themselves. They are not secure in who they are. They are not secure in their abilities. They are not secure in what they bring to the table. And when you are not secure in you, then you automatically end up in a place where acceptance is very important to you. You need people to validate your decisions. You need people to validate your choices. You need people to validate, the decisions you make and the directions that you go into. And that's because you don't have a secure attachment style. A secure attachment style is a style that says, I don't need validation from the outside. I am completely validated and secure on the inside. And my security, my validation comes from who I am and not external sources. That's the secure attachment style. Now, this can even translate into relationships. I don't have time to deal with it, though it's getting cold. I'm gonna probably have to do a thirst trap and cupping season series really soon because the weather's about to change and some of y'all gonna get missing and end up in relationships for a few months. So I may have to get into that. All right. But this very much relates to that. That's attachment style 1. Again, I ain't got time to break all of these down. I'm giving you baseline. We'll come back and start here next Tuesday. Attachment style number 2 is the anxious attachment style. And these attachment styles 2 and 3 are going to get us into those people that need to be accepted, right? Attachment style number 2 especially is the anxious, ANXIOUS, the anxious attachment style. People who have an anxious attachment style are people who lean into other people to get validation. They lean into other people as a source of inspiration. They lean into other people as a means of having their needs met. They lean into other people as a means of getting validation from others. So when your source of security is connected to other people, then you are anxious. When you are anxious, then your ability to feel accepted is not going to start internal. It's going to be based on what people think about you. Is this making sense? I feel like I'm too much in the science tonight. Is this making sense? When your source of security or attachment is an anxious style, then your strength doesn't come internal. You lean into people for acceptance. You lean into people for validation. And most people who have a problem with being accepted also have an anxious attachment style. You have an anxious attachment style. And there's some science and research that validates this stuff, that says people with anxious attachment styles oftentimes grow up and maybe they didn't get a lot of love from their mom, or they didn't get a lot of love from their dad, or they didn't get a lot of love from both. And so they become very clingy and needy. And so you find yourself leeching on and latching on to people because your source, you feel like your source of validation and strength has to come outside of you. And people who have this anxious attachment style are also people who need to be accepted. God, is this making sense to anybody tonight at all? Like, does this make, maybe y'all quiet because y'all just digesting this. Is that what it is? Is this making sense at all? People who have an anxious attachment style are people who lean into love. You don't get in relationships because you're whole. You get in relationships because you think people are going to complete you. Are y'all listening to me? People with anxious attachment styles get in relationships not because they're whole. Secure people get in relationships because they are whole. Anxious people get in relationships because they're not whole and they think that being connected to somebody completes them. And that's why they end up needy. That's why they end up clingy, right? That's why they have a hard time letting go. Is this making sense at all? And these same people are also heavy on being accepted. They just got to be accepted. They just need people to accept them. They need people to understand them. And it is because you have an anxious attachment style. Y'all, I ain't got time to deal with this. I'm going to start here with this next week, part 2, right? Here's the third attachment style that connects to this whole being accepted and being accepted overrated. And the third attachment style is what we call the avoidant style. Avoidant, A-V-O-I-D-A-N-T. I don't feel like I'm pronouncing my words right tonight. I don't know what's wrong. I'm tired. That's what it is. The avoidant, A-V-O-I-D-A-N-T. The avoidant attachment style. The anxious attachment style leans in for validation. The avoidant attachment style leans back. The avoidant attachment style gets fearful and says, hold on, y'all, you pressing me too hard. Let me take a couple steps back because this is too much. It's overwhelming me. And people with avoidant attachment styles tend to be fearful of things like commitment and fearful of things like relationships and fearful of things like people getting too close to them. And so the avoidant attachment style doesn't as much relate to people being accepted, because of people that are avoidance will typically get what they need to get out of a deal. But when it's getting too serious or it's getting too whatever or too complicated, they take a couple of steps back, right? Because the stress of it all is just too much. So the avoidant style doesn't really apply as much to this context in terms of being accepted. But the anxious style is spot on. If you are one of those people who feel like everybody needs to accept what you do, validate what you do, approve what you do, like what you do, agree with what you do, you have an anxious attachment style. And you got to fix it. You have an anxious attachment style because your source of validation is external. And so David got this. David was flawed. David made mistakes. But Psalms 19 and 14 is proof that David did not have an anxious attachment style. David actually had a secure attachment style, in that his security was not only within himself, but it was connected to pleasing the only person that mattered, and that was God. Thus, let the words of my mouth. Y'all see how I broke this down? Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable, not to folk who know me, not to people that I've been in relationships with, not to my friends, not to my families, not to my coworkers, not to my church members, not to all this stuff, but let it be acceptable in thy sight. Now, I see a question here. I like this, and that's why I try to every now and then see this. And I see a question here, and this is from somebody who tunes in because I recognize the handle. And thank you so much, dear, for tuning in every week. And she said, can you have a mix of two styles? You can. It is possible that you can have a dominant attachment style, but when you're out of esteem, you revert to something that's not like you, right? And I'm going to do a YouTube video on this probably next week. It won't be this week because this is a big one. That's a great question. You can have two attachment styles, but typically you're going to have one primarily dominant attachment style. And we tend to only see the other style when we're out of esteem, or here's the big one, when you get hurt real bad. Because typically, if your dominant attachment style is, let's say, anxious, and you're always going after love, and you're going after affection, and you're going after approval, and you're going after people accepting you, and going after people wanting to be okay with you. If you get burned real bad, what you tend to do, if you get burned bad enough, after you finish stopping from trying, what you tend to do is pause and then end up putting up a wall. And then that's when you end up shifting from being anxious to avoidant. And so you find those people, and this is the easiest way I can describe this. And I'm going back to relationships because these attachment styles make a lot of sense when we talk about relationships. Easiest way I can describe this is this. If you were a person that believed in love and you kept trying to date people and you were falling head over heels and in love with them, and you kept getting hurt over and over and over again, what happens eventually? eventually you get burned too bad that you put a wall up and then you say, I'm done with relationships. I'm done dating people. I'm done on the dating scene. I'm a die nun. I'm a die monk. I ain't gonna ever date again because all men are dogs, all women are trash, that kind of deal. And so you end up shifting from anxious to avoidant. You have this wall up, and instead of leaning into relationships and leaning into love, you end up leaning back from them. So to your question again, you can have a mix, but you tend to have a dominant, but you can fall back into another one when things go wrong. Does this make sense, y'all? I know this was very science tonight. My time's up. We will pick up here with secure, with attachment styles, and we're going to make this connect to being accepted next week. And we're going to really deal with secure and anxious, okay? We're going to really deal with secure and anxious. Did this make sense? I want you to fill it up with hearts if this made sense tonight. Say something in the comments if this makes sense tonight. We will pick up here. This is a very powerful topic, and I told you it would be, but I hope it has challenged how you see Psalms 19 and verse 14. Y'all stop standing up in church saying, let the words of my mouth, the meditation of my heart be acceptable in my sight, thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer, and not understand the context. David is saying, I don't give a crap what nobody else think about me. God, you accept me. I don't know no other easier way to put this. He's saying, I don't really give a flip what nobody think about me. God, you accept me. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight. Who cares what family thinks? Who cares what friends think? Now, look, there's extremes to all of this because, I know people are going to take this video and then they're going to swing it all the way to the extreme. This doesn't mean, y'all, and I just taught this Sunday, it doesn't mean that you're at a place where you don't care what nobody thinks. Look, obviously, you got people in your circle, you got family, you're gonna care that they are concerned about what you and your decisions and the things that you do. You're going to be concerned about their perspectives on things concerning your life. So I'm not suggesting that you don't just care about nobody. There's extremes to everything, right? There's extremes to everything. So y'all don't take me out of context, but understand you also going to be in a place where you're going to spend a whole lot less time trying to prove stuff to people. And you're going to spend a whole lot less time trying to please people. And this is the big one, especially if you're a trailblazer on this call or watching this replay, you're going to spend a whole lot less time trying to convince people of your purpose. So what if they don't understand it? So what? Let the words of your mouth and the meditation of your heart be acceptable in his sight. It's that simple. Let the meditation of your heart, let the things that you think about concerning your life that resonate in your heart, your purpose, your plans, your ideas, let that stuff be acceptable in his sight. If he with it, everybody else got to get in line. This making sense, y'all? Listen, I want to pray for you real quickly. See how fast time goes tonight? I hope this was a blessing. Man, I can't wait to part 2 tonight. We're gonna deal with this, and I'm typing a place setting here, so I don't know where to start. We'll do it part 2 right here next week. And this is going to be powerful. Next week is what, the 21st? Oh, yeah, 2 days before the big day. Next week, we'll deal with part 2, and this is going to be powerful. Listen, I want to pray for you. If you got a prayer request, I want you to go ahead and start typing your prayer request in the chat area right now. I want you to know I've been up 4:15 this week, praying over your requests right before I work out. By 10 minutes to 5, I am up. I am working out, and I have already prayed over your requests. And by 5:20, I am meditating, typically until about 6 o'clock. And it's just, it's a powerful routine. I love it. It's a routine of champions. I'll be frank with you. God has really blessed my life. And I'm grateful for it. And so I want you to know I'm praying for you. Thank you, Brother Jay. I see your comment. I appreciate that. I want you to know I'm praying for you. But I also want you to know that sometimes you got to pray for yourself. Let me tell you how powerful it's been this week. I've had people reach out to me, DM me on social media saying, hey, Pastor, and I'm talking about early in the morning, 4:50, 4:30 in the morning. Hey, Pastor, I'm up. I'm praying with you. I want you to know that. And let me tell you something. I never asked y'all to get up with me and pray with me at 4 in the morning. Most people are sleeping, and that's okay. I don't expect y'all to do it, but I've had people that are tuned in on this line, that tune in on this broadcast, hit me up and say, hey, it'd be 5 in the morning. That's okay. 5 ain't 4:15, but it's early. Hey, Pastor, it's 5 o'clock. I want you to know I'm up. I'm praying with you. And I can't tell y'all enough, man. getting those messages this week, just how much it has really just, blessed me, frankly, and encouraged me. Sometimes you do things and you wonder if it's having an impact. And those messages have been a blessing. And so I challenge all of you, if you're a morning person like me, get up sometimes. You'd be surprised. If you have to go in at work 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, you'd be surprised at getting up at 4 or 5, what that does for your whole day. First couple of days, it's going to be a little challenging. You got to get used to it. But you'll be surprised at how much you get accomplished just by getting up early and setting your day and setting your energy for the day, setting your spirit, those of you that are deep, setting your spirit for the day, your energy for the day. You'd be surprised at what that does and how it creates momentum throughout your day. And so I want to challenge all of you. I'm serious. I want to challenge all of you if you ever feel inspired to pray. I'm going to be fasting a little bit this week for those of you that have some very critical needs. I want you to know I've read your prayer requests. You've been emailing your prayer requests in. I take them very seriously. I'm going to be fasting for some of you this week, literally calling your name out and turning over my plate, because I really want God to move for you. I really want him to do some special things for you in your life, and very selflessly. I'm okay. There's some things I desire, but life's been good to me. God's been good to me in this season, and I'm grateful for that. And so I'm praying that your season shows up, and we want to pray with you. Come on, y'all. I've been running my mouth. I'm giving you 30 seconds. I need everybody on this line, if you got a prayer request, to type it in the comments right now. All right. I see the comment. Dea says we need that morning prayer exercise routine YouTube video series. I'll put that. I'll make a YouTube video out of my morning routine, because it is a routine of champions. And I can't say I made it all up. I have mirrored it after what a lot of big CEOs and major business owners and millionaires and billionaires do. They don't wake up at 9, 10 o'clock every day. They get up at 2, 3 in the morning. It's crazy. But there's some science behind this, and there's some proven work behind it. So I'd be happy to share that video. Come on, y'all, quickly. You got 20 seconds. Type in your prayer requests. I see a few. Certainly, Sister Pinky, praying for you and your family. Thank you for putting everybody there. Mother Brenda, miss you guys. Come on, y'all. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Type your prayer request. You got 15 seconds. We're going to hurry up and do it, because I want to pray for you. I want to pray for your need, your situation. And I don't just say this, y'all. I get up every morning. Those of you that have messaged me know I message you back. I ain't telling y'all I get up and then I'm still laying in the bed. I literally get up every morning, especially during the week. I have cut back on Saturdays. I will be honest. I get up Monday through Friday, 4:15. On Saturdays, I might sleep to 7 o'clock. That's late for me. But that's a rest time for me. And it's a day that typically I get a chance to reset. And I know you guys don't mind that. Good. Peace. Certainly praying for peace, to stay focused, school, walk with God, wisdom, direction, life, business, my mother. Praying for all of these things, y'all. Let's pray. Come on. Connect hands as a sign, symbol of faith. If you have not typed in your prayer request, feel free to do that while I'm praying. But I want to pray tonight to get you out on time for a change. Can you believe it? Let's pray. Father, in Jesus' name, I thank you tonight for your word. Thank you for this awesome experience on acceptance, and how acceptance is just really overrated. That God, the greater goal is for us to all be locked into our purpose, to be locked into the thing that we've been designed to be, the thing that we've been designed to do, even the things that we desire to do in our lives, to make sure that those things are pleasing to you, and let the chips fall where they may. Help us, God, to move out of this anxious space of needing to be accepted and understood by other people, and move into this place of complete comfort in you, complete comfort in our purpose, complete comfort in the goals and the passions and the drive and the ambition that we have, so that we can be everything that you've called us to be and more. God, I lift up every prayer request that's on this call right now, every prayer request that's on this line, that's on this broadcast, every request that will be entered through those folks that are watching the replay. We lift them up to you right now. Every prayer request that's in the email inbox, we lift them up to you now, God. We want you to answer the prayers of the people. Make ways as only you can. Open doors, meet needs, grant heart's desires. God, we speak healing and peace over to every sick body, over every confused mind. We speak victory and breakthrough to everybody that's boggled up and jogged down, that feels stuck in their lives. That God, this week you would loosen up the valves in their lives, that you would cause miracles and breakthroughs to happen as only you can. We thank you, God, for a week that will literally be filled with miracles, open doors, made ways, manifested promises and expectations. Do it as only you can. God, we'll continue to praise you, give your name glory in Jesus' name. Amen. Listen, y'all, you prayed that prayer with me. I want you to type it in the comments now. It's already done. It's already done. I'm sorry. It is so. It is so. It is so. Yeah, it is. It is so. I didn't got my Sundays mixed up with my Tuesdays. It is so. Type it in the comments quickly. It is so. It is so. It is so. If you prayed that prayer of faith with me, if you're going to tap in this week and touch and agree with me this week, I want you to type it in the comments now. It is so. I even challenge some of you. I told you I'm going to fast a few days this week. I'm not going to tell you which days because I don't want you to do it when I do it. I want you to be led. I want you to be inspired. Even if you feel the urge to fast a day this week, I'm going to challenge you to fast. Turn your plate over. Make that sacrifice, and you'll be surprised. The Bible says some things come only through fasting and prayer. And I want you to fast. I want to challenge somebody to fast. Take 24 hours this week and fast. Don't eat. Pray, focus, meditate, and you'll be amazed at how God begins to then reveal answers to your life and concerning your life. And so I want to challenge you to do that. I really do. Okay. Listen, y'all, let me challenge you to give really quickly. This message, this ministry has been a broad blessing to you. You should see up on your screen right now. I want to challenge you to give. There are one of three ways you can be a blessing to us. And I want to say thank you to those of you that continue to support us, even in this space. It has certainly been a blessing and an eye opener. And I want to challenge you to give. You can give one of three ways: via Cash App, $, REHABCCGIVE, website, www.rehabcc.org. Choose online giving, or through your cell phone. Simply text REHABWORKS. Text REHABWORKS to 88202. That's REHABWORKS to 88202. And you can give either one of these ways. I want to challenge you to give an offering tonight. You have not given your tithes. I want to challenge you to tithe tonight. We believe in the power of tithing. I believe in tithing. I'm a tither. I want to challenge you to tithe tonight. I want to challenge you to give tonight. Sow a seed tonight. If this message, if this ministry has been a blessing to you, if it's been a blessing to your family, to your life, your business, your career, your relationships, I want to challenge you to give tonight. Again, those mediums are simple. Cash App, $, REHABCCGIVE, website, www.rehabcc.org, or cell phone. Text REHABWORKS to 88202. That's REHABWORKS to 88202. And you will get a message on your phone. You follow that prompt and you can be a blessing right then and there. But listen, y'all, I love y'all. It's 8:01. I cannot believe with a message this rich, I was able to get us out on time. I cannot believe it, but I'm blessed and thankful for all of you for tuning in. Do me a favor. Make sure you like this video, share this video, subscribe to all of our networks, tag 5 people and tell them to go back and watch this video. They're going to get something out of it. And then make plans to meet me this Sunday, right back here for our virtual experience, 9:08 a.m. Sunday morning. And I'm telling y'all, I can't wait to see you. It's going to be a powerful time. And I really just appreciate you tuning in, and really appreciate you sharing this broadcast, sharing this ministry with so many other people. All right. I love y'all. I'm praying for you. I'm rooting for you. I want you to have a fantastic week, a blessed week. Be safe, wear your mask, social distance, take care of yourself. Let's take care of each other. And I will make plans to see you this Sunday at 9:08 a.m. All right. I love you guys. I'm praying for you. I want you to have a fantastic week. Peace and blessings. We will see you on Sunday morning. Good night.
For watching the Rehab Christian Center live experience. If this broadcast has been a blessing to you and you would like to be a blessing to our leader, Dr. Zeb Talley III, you can sow a seed into his ministry by Cash App at $Pastor ZT3. It is our prayer that this message of hope encourage, enlighten, and empower you to be better. Please tune in Sunday at 9:08 a.m. for our Sunday morning experience. And as always, be blessed and have a wonderful